Great to have you along for the ride. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Glad to have this man back. He's the founder, the boss over the Article 3 project. It is Mike Davis. Mike, how are you? Good to see you.
I'm doing well, and thank you for having me back on.
You're very welcome. For years and years, we've been talking about this brother Mike. We knew that he was going to pardon Hunter. They lied and said that they weren't going to, and they lied with such ease, but we knew that he was going to go ahead and pardon Hunter Biden. Were you surprised by the details of the pardon, or did you know that he would take it back to 2014?
I mean, this pardon has stunning breadth and depth, but what do you expect from Joe Biden? They have to go back more than 10 years because that's when the Biden family corruption began back in 2014, at least with the Ukraine front. It's probably been going on for decades before that, but for purposes of this ongoing criminal conspiracy by the Bidens, they had to tie it back to 2014 with the Burisma deal.
It's important to mention to those watching and listening that he actually went to work on the board at Burisma, where he doesn't speak Ukrainian, doesn't know anything about energy, but he got that job in 2014. That's why the date, right?
Yes, and it's amazing to me that the Bidens have done very, very well from Hunter Biden's newfound interest in Ukraine. Unfortunately, it probably led America into a hot war with the Russians over Ukraine because of the corruption that led to Russia going in and taking Crimea under Biden when he was VP and then trying to take the rest of Ukraine under Biden as president. You notice how Russia wasn't invading Ukraine under Trump. We had peace and prosperity because we had a strong leader who was not corrupted by these foreign payments to his family.
I wonder, and again, it's Mike Davis. Go to article3project.org and support everything he does. MRDDMIA over on social. Go follow Mike right now, an important follow. In watching, how far do the tentacles go? Because just Hunter gets pardoned, but one would assume now Joe Biden basically pardoned himself and his other children, because if Hunter is not guilty of anything and he's completely alleviated of all charges, unconditional pardon for everything he's done for the past 10 years, does that now make free and clear the Biden family? Or you posted something that actually suggests he can't now say the Fifth Amendment. If he's called to testify, he would have to testify against everybody. So what's the mindset, do you think, of the big guy, Joe Biden, when he makes this decision? Did he think he alleviated the family as a whole from any charges, or did he just open a Pandora's box?
I think he put the Biden crime family at much greater risk of being investigated, because now that Hunter Biden has been pardoned, he can no longer claim the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, so he could be forced to testify before grand juries and before Congress. And if Hunter refuses, he could be charged with contempt, like they did with, Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro, who went to prison for 4 months. Yeah. You could be charged with perjury if you're lying. And if I were Joe Biden, I would make sure that I pardon the rest of my scumbag family and even myself as Joe Biden before he leaves office on January 20th at noon. Because, look, you have over $23 million that House Oversight Chairman James Comer has been able to prove through bank records subpoenaed that $23 million plus has gone into what seems like every Biden family member's bank account, except for the 7-year-old granddaughter who they finally claimed under political pressure. What did the Bidens do for $23 million from these corrupt foreign entities around the world, including our worst enemies like Russia, like China, the corruption in Ukraine? That the Bidens have been on the take. And what did they sell?
Nothing. They sold influence. That was it. They had no product. They weren't selling Hunter Biden pies. So, I mean, I'm with you 100% on that. But so do you literally see him in the next month and 20 days? Just one by one? Ashley, you get a pardon. My brother, Jim, you get a pardon. My sister, you get a pardon. Jill, you get a pardon. I pardon myself. Can you literally pardon yourself? I guess there's nothing that says you can't.
I mean, it's never been done, but the president's pardon power is very broad and it's absolute. So, I mean, I think that the Office of Legal Counsel in the Justice Department, the general counsel for the executive branch, would take that position. And I imagine that the Supreme Court would also agree with that position. So, yeah, I mean, the Bidens still have a lot of explaining to do, and they can't hide behind their Fifth Amendment right to self-incrimination if they've been pardoned. If I were the House Judiciary Committee or the House Oversight Committee or any of these other committees, I would call in Hunter Biden and do it with a subpoena, compel him to testify, because this isn't about Hunter Biden's hookers and below and whether he's being a creep with his nieces. This is about whether the president of the United States is compromised by $23 million plus that they've been able to locate going into his family members' bank accounts. And what did he do for that $23 million? And how do we prevent this from ever happening again?
Mike Davis, founder, article3project.org. Go there, support everything he does. Follow him, MRDDMIA, over on social media, X, and on Truth. Mike, there's one last thing on this. I'm all for free speech, as you know. So I believe that Karine Jean-Pierre can lie all she wants, and we can call her out when she lies. But when you're working in an official capacity as the spokesperson for the president, or if you're the president himself, and you are actively lying for months and months, if not years, about something that ended up getting us, and again, we'll tie this all together, I guess, with the next administration, into a war that cost $200 billion and many, many lives. Is there no accountability, really, for somebody like Karine Jean-Pierre, who had to know she's lying or she's just dumb and just said whatever they said say? But this administration has all, Dan Goldman's been lying his ass off. Adam Schiff's been lying his ass off. Is there really no accountability at all for these people because of the First Amendment?
Well, there should be accountability for the people who engage in a criminal conspiracy against rights under 18 U.S.C. Section 241, that these government actors who conspired amongst themselves, along with private actors like say maybe Andrew Weissman or Norm Eisen,
yes,
to run this unprecedented Republic-ending lawfare against President Trump, his top aide Steve Bannon, Peter Navarro, who went to prison, his supporters on January 6th, who the Supreme Court held in the Fisher decision last June were politically persecuted, parents being targeted by the FBI for being outraged by gender chaos in schools,
right,
and the resulting rapes, the Christians being targeted for praying at abortion clinics under the FACE Act while nothing happens to Planned Parenthood activists who are terrorizing pro-life crisis pregnancy centers or Catholic churches, or BLM, Antifa, Hamas supporters being a hell of a lot more destructive and deadly than anything that happened on January 6th. There has to be accountability for what happened. It's very clear from how they dropped these charges right after the election, after they said the election doesn't matter, this is about justice, and then they dropped the charges right after the election. That proves that this was lawfare by the Democrats and election interference. They must face severe legal, political, and financial consequences from the Trump 47 Justice Department, from House Republicans, Senate Republicans, state AGs, so this never happens again.
Well, what you just said is fact. It's verifiable fact. It's not even opinion anymore. This was about lawfare to interfere with an election, period. KJP was asked today, had Harris not lost, would this have happened? And her answer was no. I mean, Hunter Biden doesn't get a pardon if Harris wins. That says everything. Then when she was asked about it some more, she said, I'm not going to talk about a hypothetical. At the end of the day, this was exactly what you've been telling my audience and me and people well beyond my show for years now. This is lawfare, start to finish, end of story. It is Mike Davis. We always appreciate the time. Let's talk about Kash. Our good friend Kash Patel would be perfect for the FBI. Somebody, I forget who reported this, some doofus over on X, that when he was a teenager, his parents would go out of town and he would hold parties where they would drink at his parents' house as a teenager. Mike, they got him. He acted like a teenager. Kash can't be the FBI director. Is there any apprehension in your mind, in the thought process of these senators on the right, to where they couldn't say yes to Kash? He's a shoo-in, is he not?
Look, if throwing kegers in high school is disqualifying, there's yet another reason I could never be confirmed to anything, because I throw them every damn weekend to my parents' horror. So no, I mean, come on, we already tried the teenager route with Kavanaugh. That didn't work. Yes. That backfired spectacularly on the Democrats in that midterm election in, I think it was 2018, when Democrats won the House of Representatives, but Senate Republicans knocked out 4 Senate Democrat incumbents. Look, this is the standard for these cabinet and senior executive branch picks. Are they qualified? if they are qualified, the president should get his team. The Senate should vote to confirm the president's team, right? If they're a qualified nominee, they should win Senate confirmation. It doesn't matter if senators have a personality disagreement or a policy disagreement. The president should get his team. The president doesn't tell senators who they should have on their staffs, and the senators shouldn't tell the president who he should have on his staff. Now, these nominees could be disqualified. If they're qualified, they could be disqualified through their personal misconduct, but that needs to be whoever's saying they're disqualified has the burden of proof with clear and convincing evidence that that nominee is disqualified. We're not going to do the Me Too presumption of guilt like they tried to do with Kavanaugh. We got rid of that. You're welcome, America, from me, Mike Davis. We're not doing that again. So the president gets his team if they're qualified, unless someone can prove they're disqualified. And throwing kegers in high school is not disqualifying. It actually makes me like Kash even more.
Same. I did a video about Kash being nominated, and I took a piece of an interview that I did with him, and I posted it, and TikTok took it down, guidelines on misinformation, blah, blah, blah. I appealed, and I got it back up. But you can already see what's happening. They need to shield the public from hearing and seeing what Kash has been saying. And what he's been saying is the DOJ is in trouble. And I'm going to fix the FBI, and I'm going to fix the DOJ if I get a chance. And these are the steps that we need to take when we do that. And they're freaking out. When Andrew McCabe is out there 3 minutes after the announcement, and he's almost weeping on CNN, you know something good's happening, I would think.
Look, they know that President Trump is over the target by picking Kash Patel to lead the FBI for President Trump. And yes, he's leading it for President Trump. The Justice Department, the FBI, they're not independent of the President of the United States. That is dangerous for people to think that the FBI and the Attorney General don't report to the President of the United States. That is admitting what they've been saying is a conspiracy theory all along, which is there's the deep state. If the AG, if the FBI, if the people of the Justice Department don't think they report to the duly elected President of the United States, then there is a deep state. And so Kash Patel is going to go in there. He's already proven in the past as a public defender, as a top national security prosecutor, including an award-winning one under the Obama Justice Department. So he can't be so bad if the Obama Justice Department gave him awards for his prosecution as a national security prosecutor, as a House Intel top official, Director of National Intelligence top aide, White House Security Council top official, the Pentagon Chief of Staff.
Yeah, the Chief of Staff, yeah.
This guy checks every box. He's going to go in there. He's going to clean house. He's going to be a bold, serious reformer. I don't give a damn if he's made some crazy comment on your show or Steve Bannon's show. I do it every second of every day. I don't care if he threw high school kegers. Again, that makes me like him more. Right. He's going to go in there and clean house at the FBI. And that's why people like Andrew McCabe and Andrew Weissman and these other rats are terrified of Kash Patel.
MRDDMIA over on X and on Truth. It is Mike Davis. Go and support what he does. The article3project.org. Article3project.org. It's the number 3 in the website. Does Jack Smith get to ride off into the sunset and just have a nice day? Jack Smith's got to face the music, doesn't he?
As Jack Smith said to us many times in his press conferences, and nobody's above the law. So if he didn't violate the law, he has nothing to worry about. But he should face very serious probes by the Justice Department's Office of Professional Responsibility, the Justice Department's Office of Inspector General, the Justice Department's Criminal Division, including the Public Integrity Section, the U.S. Attorney in D.C., the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida, the House and Senate Appropriations Committees, the House and Senate Judiciary Committees, and the House and Senate Oversight Committees, just to start. Maybe even the Georgia Attorney General's office and other offices. Look, this is an obvious criminal conspiracy against rights under 18 U.S.C. Section 241, and it's not just Jack Smith and Jay Bratt and the people who worked for the Office of Special Counsel. It's also these Democrat prosecutors, witnesses, operatives, and even judges all over the country. Fani Willis, Tish James, Alvin Bragg, Matthew Colangelo, Nathan Wade, Chris Mays in Arizona. Judge Engoron, Judge Shutkin, Judge Merchan. I think that when you work together to politicize and weaponize our intel agencies and law enforcement agencies to go after your political opponent for non-crimes, that is the very definition of 18 U.S.C. Section 241, conspiracy against rights.
What do they need, though, Mike? Is there a I don't know. Is there a smoking gun here? Do you need some? You and I both know that Merrick Garland and Matthew Colangelo and Joe Biden and Nathan Wade in Biden's office and everything, we know that there was collusion. We know that. But do we need something, even a thin thread, to say this ties it all together? Because I'm guessing they're not stupid. They probably didn't leave. Nathan Wade's stupid. I mean, having admitted that he met in Washington, he was billing people for 24 hours a day. He's dumb. But other than that, I mean, they're pretty careful people, no?
No, I don't. I think there's a lot more than a thin thread. I think there's a very strong rope that ties them together, and that it all ties to Joe Biden's White House. You had Jonathan Sue, President Biden's deputy White House counsel, waive President Trump's claim of constitutional executive privilege, going back 250 years to George Washington, that led to Jack Smith's 2 indictments. You had Matthew Colangelo deploy from the number 3 office in the Biden Justice Department, a very senior political appointee, to go to Alvin Bragg's office to bring the first indictment ever against a former president who happens to be their boss's leading presidential rival. And then you had Nathan Wade actually dumb enough to bill his time 16 hours, $250 an hour, $4,000 to Fulton County taxpayers for his 2 meetings with the Biden White House, including the White House counsel.
That's a dumb guy. Come on.
Just incredibly dumb. So he should be the first witness in the grand jury box for this conspiracy against rights.
I'm almost out of time. Mike, thanks for the time. But just very quickly, does Pam Bondi get into place and immediately start that investigation? Is it on her?
I have not had these discussions with Pam Bondi, but I know that she's bold, she's fearless, she's highly qualified. She doesn't need the job. She didn't want the job, which makes her perfect for the job. And I have a great deal of confidence that Pam Bondi is going to restore justice to the Justice Department.
I do as well, and I have just as much confidence in you, Mike. Thanks for coming on today and explaining all of that so well. It's Mike Davis, MRDDMIA, over on social media. Go and help out the article3project.org. The great work that he does. You've got to go see the threads that he writes. Thanks a million, brother. Really appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, man. We're back after this. Stay right here.